Hey there, CPO here, and you've probably seen my videos on my Suunto Core all black, the military version of this watch. And I really love the watch, but if you've seen on my update after having worn it for quite a while, I think 2 years now, this little button here stopped working. So I decided I'm going to fix that. I actually wear this thing more and more, and even though I try and switch watches, I always go back to this. I just love this watch, but that one button that's not working right is sort of driving me crazy. So I'm going to fix it. I'm going to show you how to fix it, and let's get to it because it's time for this thing to work right. All right, so what you need to accomplish this essentially is a sharp, thin knife. So I'm using a little kitchen knife here. If you have a case knife, that'll work fine. Basically what we're going to do is insert the knife in between the bezel and the case of the watch and just pry up on it. It's just sort of press fit in there, and you just gotta pry it off. So it took a little bit more pressure than I expected, but popped off nice and easy, and you'll see here in just a second. Bam, there you go. So the bezel's actually two pieces. There's the actual outside top aluminum part, and then underneath is this plastic piece, which is what gives it the click whenever you rotate it. I'll show you how to put that together. And then there's these little balls that provide that click, and there's 4 torque screws that actually hold the crystal and the rest of the watch together. So before I get started, you can see here the button does not really work to change the function there in the middle like it should. If I press it really hard, I can get it to change. But it's inconsistent and, quite frankly, super annoying. So, by the way, the instructions here are the same. I'm going to fix a button that doesn't work all the time, but if you've got something jammed in there like sand or dirt that prevents that button from being pressed, it'll be the same process. So, again, here's that bezel and the little centerpiece. There's these 4 indexing little bumps there, the little nipples, for lack of a better word. But those are going to fit inside the same holes on the bezel, and you'll find you can rotate it until it just sort of locks into place. And then when it does so, it'll sit nice and flat and sort of, puzzle in together. And you'll know when it's in the right place. That's what you're going to do when we put it back together. And it's pretty simple, but you can see those little holes there for the bumps to fit into. So I just put it in, rotate it until it sort of catches, and then it'll be good to go. All right, but let's get to actually disassembling the watch next. All right, so I'm using a T5 Torx. It's a tiny little guy. A lot of cell phones tend to use this size, and I'm also using gloves. These are powder-free gloves. The reason I want to do that is because I don't want to put any fingerprints on the inside of the crystal or the top of the LCD. Reason being is the oil from my prints will collect dust. Now here's a little trick for keeping track of your screws. Take a piece of tape, lay it upside down. This is sticky side up. And then use another couple of pieces of tape, just smaller, to actually tape it down to your surface. That will leave you with a sticky section. And what I like to do is set my tiny little screws onto that sticky section, and that way I don't lose them. So there's only 4 Torx screws holding this thing together. So I'm just going to undo them one at a time, and then like I said, take those screws and just drop them onto the tape, which will hold them nicely so I don't lose them. Pretty easy. Some of them you have to pull on a little bit to get them out of there, but I don't know if that's just my watch or all of you are going to have the same problem. Anyway, that's 2. Now on the 3, and then 1 more. And then as I hold the watch for that last one, just know that that case is now separated. So as I pull the crystal off, my goal here is to always keep it pointed down and then set down flat on the clean surface. I want to avoid getting dust and and anything else in there. So I'm not operating in a clean room environment, but I do want to keep it as clean as possible. And as far as the top of that display, as long as I try my best not to touch it, and of course not with my fingerprints, any dust particles, you can already see there's some on there. Any of those dust particles are easily sort of just blown off with a small puff of air. So when you pull this apart, it is tethered. That's the barometric pressure reader sensor there. Leave that on. Don't even mess with it. It's not worth the trouble to mess with. So, but you can see how the buttons on the side here of the case, and actually it's a split sort of a tab here. There's a smaller tab that actually makes contact when you press the button, and then there's the bigger tab, which is what the button actually presses. So the problem is that I need to spread those out a little more. They got compressed. So now the button part, the bigger one, when it's pressed, will make the smaller part that actually makes the contact move farther. Here's another look at. That's the contact part, and that's the part the button touches. So I just spread those out a little bit, and it solved the problem I needed to. And like I said before, if you've got like dirt or dust or grime or something in there that's preventing that from being pressed, same fix. But I spread it just slightly so that it would consistently operate. And then all I'm doing is putting it right back inside the case, and a little bit of a test to make sure that now the button actually works, and it does. Boom, that's what I'm looking for. All right, so, and then you basically take your case and put it right back where you got it. Trying not, again, to touch anything. I blew off any dust on the top of that display. But here's the thing. There is a gasket, a little like rubber O-ring type thing that's inside of there. Now, it may have fallen apart on you, or may not have, like with mine. But you can see it there. And on mine it's stuck, but I'm going to go ahead and pull it off to show you what it looks like, just in case it does for you. I'm also going to clean it a little bit, and then one of the steps I like to do is use a silicone grease on any of these. Anytime I mess with watches and taking apart things with these gaskets or seals, I like to use silicone grease for that. So, you know, your mileage may vary. So when I put this on, it looks like it will go on pretty much this way, but I find as I start sort of putting it into the groove, and the whole point of me showing you this is to show you what it looks like when it doesn't quite fit right. It's going to fit just about everywhere except one little spot, and that's right there. That little area feels like it should fall right into the groove. It's kind of hard to see in this. But it doesn't. It doesn't quite line up. And you could force it to line up, but my point is don't force it. If it doesn't line up just right, what you need to do is just flip this over, because it's actually not the same left to right. There's a very subtle difference. So I'm going to pull it off and flip it if I can grab a hold of it. And you can already see dust building up on that display. It doesn't take much. But because it's not held on by greasy fingerprints, it's easy to blow off. So don't worry about it. But once I flip the thing over, you can see the little hump that goes around the little ball bearing there. But now it fits in that groove just perfect. So if it doesn't fit in perfect, flip it over. It's probably backwards. So there you go, just like that. Now I am going to pull this off and actually apply that silicone, and that's, like I said, something that I do to retain the waterproofness of watches. This I got from a dive shop. That's actually the easiest place to get this silicone grease. They use them for dive stuff, and I'm just basically just lightly coating this and spreading that grease around. Actually, the hard part is not getting too much, so I've got it on there, and I'm just trying to get everything coated, but not egregiously so. And then carefully, this is the hard part, set it around the outside of the case without actually touching the display. Now the gloves are sort of tainted, so I'm pulling them off, and I'm going to use a toothpick, actually, in this case, to get that seal reseated in there. And you can see I've got a little silicone around the outside of the display, not on the actual display itself, but on the, I don't know, that brass colored section. That's not a big deal. We're going to pull that off. But I'm just basically pressing in that seal that's now siliconed. And now I'm wiping off the excess. The key here is to avoid touching, again, that black part of the display. I actually used a little piece of paper towel there just to get off anything else, and we're golden. So now I put gloves back on because, again, I don't want to put myself in a position where I accidentally fingerprint the thing. But once I get that on there, it's pretty much the gloves are no longer needed. But that will fit on there, should fit nice and easy. And then you just start putting the screws in. Now I am using an X pattern for this, so just screwing in, starting with one corner, and then basically going to work my way opposite corner. And once I have the first one down, everything's pretty much secure. I don't really need the gloves anymore. They're actually just getting in the way. So those are gone, and now I'm going to finish screwing this thing down. So the torque on this is not much. When you pulled the screws off, they were probably just lightly tightened. I'm kind of going for the same exact thing. Don't over torque them. They don't require a lot. There's no thread lock required because it's a metal screw inside of a plastic composite case. So we're good there. It should hold vibration and all that just fine. And again, just get those four tightened down. All right, there we go. And now we can take a look at it and make sure it still works. Boom, got some good button action happening there. And now's a great time to clean this thing down a little bit. Again, you did notice there was some dust particles on the actual display. I blew those off, just a quick puff of air. Now I'm checking to make sure that I don't have any particles inside that would drive me crazy. Because I kept the top down, the crystal down, it prevented anything from getting inside that. So now we're going to put this two pieces on, and it just literally clips into place. So put them together like I showed you before, set it on top and press it in, and it will just clip into place and should start working the way you would expect it. Just make sure it's down on all sides, and that's it. That is how you fix the button on the Suunto Core. And now I'm a happy guy because I can get into my menu, which I couldn't do before. So, bam, that makes me feel very happy. All right, so there you go. That is it. That is the repaired Suunto Core all black. Works like a charm. I have to go back to lock that button so I don't accidentally press it. But that's really it. It's that simple. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.